Game 8 is the Texans at the Broncos, featuring a total of 46, and the Broncos favored by 1. Deshaun Watson is finding his stride this season, but he might stumble with a tough matchup in Mile High Stadium. Watson has great fantasy scores in most games, but is underwhelmed against tougher defenses like Jacksonville and Buffalo. He faces a good one this Sunday in Denver, which will keep both ceiling and ownership down. DeAndre Hopkins has become a matchup-proof receiver, which is why I like him this week in Denver. I think Sunday could be the only game this year we'll see his ownership under 15%. Recently acquired Demaryius Thomas will split targets with injured receiver Keke Coutee, who benefits from being more familiar with the offense. Coutee should be playing on Sunday, but double-check his status if you roster him. Running back Lamar Miller is back from the dead, hitting 100 rushing yards and a touchdown in consecutive games, though he had game script working for him in both cases. That's less likely to be the situation in Denver, and the Broncos' run defense has tightened in recent weeks. I can't imagine playing him on FanDuel, but it's not crazy on DraftKings, especially paired with the Houston defense. Broncos quarterback Case Keenum is much better at fantasy football than real football, and faces a Texans defense ranked 12th against the pass. Keenum hasn't thrown over 2 touchdowns this season, and playing him on FanDuel feels like lighting money on fire. But he's cheap enough on DraftKings to at least consider before you decide on someone else. With the trade of Demaryius Thomas, we've never been more certain of where the targets will go in Denver. Emmanuel Sanders will continue to be the primary option, but little about his price or role has changed. Meanwhile, Courtland Sutton will be the highest owned player of the slate, as the sites didn't have time to adjust his price following the trade. If you want a barely owned pivot on the same team, Deshaun Hamilton will operate as the third receiver, and tight end Jeff Heuerman could absorb some of the short throws that Thomas used to get. At least for now, the Denver backfield belongs to Phillip Lindsay, as Royce Freeman is unlikely to suit up on Sunday. Lindsay broke 20 touches for the first time last week, and should stay involved for 4 quarters in a close contest. His price remains low on both sites, but with his role more established, I'm less interested than I was last week.